Please set in a comfortable meditation posture and close the eyes. Find the silence that is always there deep in the mind. Connect with that silence. Become the silence. You are the silent witness. You are the source of the eternal now. From this perspective, listen to the Yoga Vasishta. Book 3, Chapter 121. Continuing with verse 37. There cannot be a relationship or connection between two dissimilar things, which may be lasting, but are never united together. Without such mutual relation of things, no idea of both can be formed together. Similar things, being joined together, form the wholes of the same kind, presenting one form and differing in nothing. Consciousness being joined with an abstract idea produces an invisible, inner, and uniform thought. Dull matter joined to another dull object forms a denser material object to view. But consciousness and material can never unite together, owing to their different natures. The intellectual and material parts of a person can never be drawn together in any picture. The material picture lacks the intellectual part, which has consciousness and the power of knowledge. Intellectual beings do not take into account the different material things like wood and stone, which combine for some useful purpose, such as building a house. The relationship between the tongue and taste is also homogeneous. Taste and the instrument of tasting are both watery substances, and there is no heterogeneous relation between them. But there is no relation between consciousness and matter, like there is nothing between stone and wood. Consciousness cannot combine with wood and stone to form anything. Spiritually considered, all things are alike because they are full of the same spirit. Otherwise, the error of distinction between the viewer and the view creates endless differences, like those between wood and stones and other things. The combination of unseen spirits is easily conceived because spirits can assume any form at one's pleasure and having no end. Know, you who seek truth, that all things are identical with the identity of God. Renounce your knowledge of non-entities and the various kinds of errors and fallacies, and know the one as all. Consciousness is full with its knowledge, so there is nothing lacking in us. Consciousness presents us everything in its circumference, just like imagination in its wide range shows us the sights of its air-built castles and everything beside. To him there is no limit of time or space, but his presence extends over all its creation. Ignorance separates the creator from creation and raises the errors of I and you. Forgetting the knowledge of the substance of gold, man contracts the error of taking it for the form of ornament. The mistake of jewelry for gold is like taking one thing for another and mistaking the production for the producer. The error of phenomenon vanishes upon loss of its sight, and the differences among pieces of jewelry is lost in the substance of gold. The knowledge of unity removes that of a distinct creation, just as the knowledge of clay takes away the sense of toy soldiers made from it. The same Brahma causes the error of reality of the exterior worlds, just as the underlying sea causes the error of waves on its surface. The same wood is mistaken for the carved figure, and common clay is mistaken for the pot made of it. Between sight and its object lies the eye of the beholder, which is beyond the sight of its viewer. and is neither the view nor the viewer. The mind, traversing from one place to another, leaves the body in between, which is neither moving nor quite unmoved, because only its mental part is in its moving state. Remain always in that quiet state, which is not waking, dreaming, or sleeping, and which is not the state of consciousness or unconsciousness, but one of everlasting tranquility and rest. Drive away your dullness and remain always in the company of your sound intellect, like a solid rock. Whether in grief or joy, commit your soul to your Maker. There is nothing to lose or earn in this world. Therefore, remain in uniform joy and bliss. Whether you think yourself to be blessed or unblessed in life. The soul residing in your body neither loves nor hates anything at any time. Therefore, rest in quiet and fear nothing for what happens to your body. Do not engage your mind with the actions of your body. Remain free from anxiety about the present, just as you are unconcerned about the future. Never be impelled by the impulses of your mind, but remain steadfast in your trust in the true God. Be unconcerned with all and remain as an absent man. Let your heart remain detached from everything, like a block of stone or a toy made of wood. Look with the spiritual light of your soul and see your mind as an inanimate thing. There is no water in stone or fire in water. So the spiritual man has no mental action, nor does the divine spirit have any. If something unseen should ever come to do any action, that action is not attributed to the unseen agent, but to something else in the mind. The uncontrolled, selfish, unspiritual man who follows the dictates of his fickle and willful mind resembles a man of the borderland, following the customs of outcasts or barbarian. having disregarded the dictates of your vile mind, you may remain at ease and as fearless as an unconscious statue made of clay. He who understands that there is no such thing as the mind, or that he had one before it is dead in him today, becomes as immovable as a marble statue with this assurance in himself. There being no appearance of the mind in any case, and you having no such thing in you in reality except your soul, then say, why do you vainly infer its existence for your own error and harm? Those who vainly subject themselves to the false apparition of the mind are mostly men of unsound understanding, who bring destruction on themselves instead of the full moon of the pure soul. Remain firm as you are with yourself. So, by casting your fancied and fanciful mind far away from you, be free from the thoughts of the world by being settled in the thought of the Supreme Soul. They who follow a non-existence, such as the unreal mind, are like fools who shoot at the empty air and are cast into the shade. He who has cleansed off his mind is indeed a man of great understanding. He has gone across the error of the existence of the world and has become purified in his soul. We have considered long and never found anything like the impure mind in the pure soul. Chapter 122. Ascertainment of the self or soul. Vasishtha said, after the birth of a man and a slight development of his understanding, he should associate with the company of good and wise men, accepted by the light of scriptures and association with the good and wise. There is no way to cross the river of ignorance that runs in its constant course, flowing in 1,000 streams. By reasoning, man is able to discern what is good for him and what he must avoid. Then he arrives to that ground of reason, for which is known as goodwill, or a desire to do what is good and keep from what is bad and evil. Then he is led by his reason to the power of reasoning, discerning truth from untruth and right from wrong. As he improves in knowledge, he gets rid of his improper desires and purifies his mind from all worldly cares. Then he is said to have gained that state of knowledge, which is called the purity of his soul and mind, and of his heart and conduct. When a yogi or adept attains full knowledge, he is said to have arrived at his state of goodness. By this means and the curtailing of his desires, he arrives at the state called detachment or indifference to all worldly matters. And he is no more subjected to the consequences of his actions. From the curtailment of desires, a yogi learns to withdraw his mind from the unrealities of the world. Whether setting inactive in samadhi meditation or doing anything for himself or others, he must fix his mind to whatever produces real good to the world. His soul, being cooled by the faintness of his desires, is habituated to do its duties without the knowledge of what it is doing. Truly, he who has subdued his mind has reached the contemplative stage of yoga meditation. Now let us continue established in the silent witness, watching the conscious thinking mind. We start the mantra and let it go, following the mantra deep into consciousness to touch the individual karmic traces that have been enlivened by this reading of the Yoga Vasishtha. Jai Gurudev. Thank you for joining today.